all about in Dover, Delaware with the Delaware State Hornets. And the man to do that is the head coach, DeShawn Jackson. Good morning to you, Coach Jackson.
How you doing, man? Good
Good,
morning.
good. The Hornets put together a dominant effort against Bowie State, especially on the ground. Nearly 280 yards rushing and three different players finding the end zone this past weekend. What impressed you most about the way your offense established control and set the tone early and often in the game?
Well, I mean, I think anytime you can put a W in the win column is obviously what we want to accomplish and we want to reach for. Throughout that game, man, there was just a lot of frustrating things that went on. I felt like we should have scored a lot more points than we scored. I'm definitely I'm happy about the win, but I know we can do a lot better. And I encourage my guys to go out there and play football, the right way. And we're continuously making penalties and making bonehead mistakes, and it's going to cost us. We're going to get in some games where that bonehead and that selfish ball is going to affect us. So once again, I'm happy about the win column. I'm happy we was able to stack two wins back to back, but there's just a lot of things we still need to clean up. And my expectations where I think we need to go and where we want to go in this season.
Okay, well, looking ahead now to St. Francis, you'll face a team known for being tough at home and strong defensively. What's going to be the key areas of focus for the Hornets as you prepare going into this road game?
Well, man, it's going to be a tough stretch for us. We have three consecutive games on the road. We're up for it. Obviously, we look at one game at a time. But coming to St. Francis, they came in our home field last year and beat us. So we still remember that, even though I wasn't here. I remind my guys of everything that happened in the past, and we keep that on our shoulder. We keep that on our mind. But we'll prepare. We'll do everything we need to do this week to put our body of work out there Monday through Friday, and we'll get ready to go down there in St. Francis and play on Saturday, man. And we're looking for a huge outing again for us.
Okay, Coach, that's it for me. Let's now get ready to take some questions from the media. As a reminder, please use the raised hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. Also, please limit your questions to just one for Coach Jackson. Our first question of the day comes from, let's see who we're going to get. Let's see who we have here. Let's pull up Wayne Cartwright. Wayne.
Hey, Coach Jackson, congrats on a second straight win for you guys. What I just want to ask from you today is, with three games, you talked about being on the road here coming up, but with these three games that are coming before you get into the MEAC, can you just give us a broad picture of where you and the staff are looking to get this team in terms of its development? You talked about penalties, but offense, defense, special teams, can you just give us a broad view of those particular areas?
Yeah, man, we came into this season obviously knowing we had all the odds stacked against us, right? We came out, we did, always go back to the recruiting in the offseason. We spent a lot of time in trying to change this culture around, and we feel like we identified that. It's still early in the season, right? We're going on week 4. We're 2-1. We feel like we put some good body of work out there. We showed glimpses of some great ball, all three phases, offense and defense and special teams. But just our standard, our expectation is way higher than what we're getting right now, right? And we know we can get a lot more out of our team and out of our players. So we're just continuously, keeping the standard to standard. And our expectations when we go to work, we put our work in, right? And it's not going to be perfect. As the head coach, you understand it's not going to be perfect, but as long as we're able to, get better, not make the same mistakes over and over, we're leading in the right direction and we're heading in the right direction. My thing has always been changing this culture and showing that we can win and we can compete at a high level. And I think we've done that, but we're still not content. We still know we got a lot to prove, and we still got a lot to accomplish as well too. So week in and week out, we'll do that. We'll keep putting good ball out there. We'll get better. We'll clean up what we need to clean up. But overall, I'm excited about what my guys are showing, man, because they're showing they want to compete. They're showing they want to be great, and they're showing that they want to win as well too. So as far as the body of work that's been put out there, we're going in the right direction.
Well, thanks, Coach, and good luck to you guys this week up there in Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Over to you, James Hill.
Good morning, Coach. I hope you and everybody at Delaware State University are well. How are you, sir?
Hey, James, I'm doing good in yourself, man.
Awesome. Talk a little bit about continuing to build this program. It's already a winning culture, even though it's early, 2-1 as you head into St. Francis. Just talk about the Hornets way.
Yeah, well, the Hornets way is simple, man. We want to be physical. We want to outlast our opponent. We want to be violent at the attack, and we want to compete at a high level. Everything we do in practice, we compete. We're getting our young guys developed. It's a lot of young guys that we're depending on to play major roles on our team, and for us, I think just the morale of the team's been the past 2 years, the spirit of guys really having talent, just but not having hope. I think was the biggest thing. These guys were looking for the pressure that I'm putting on them now, the expectation that I'm putting on them now. The standard. And over time, you see, man, guys just continuously buying into the process, and we have a strict process, we have a strict routine, and the standard is the standard. No one's belittled or above the standard, right? We all have to fall in line and figure out your role, and every man to a T has to play their part, because in order for us to have the success, it's going to take everybody. So we have a next man up mindset mentality, regardless if we lose a guy to injury or somebody gets in trouble off the field. All my players at any given time know once your number is called, you have to be ready and prepared. So, our coaching staff, myself, we're doing a great job of getting guys prepared. And, when their number is called, they'll be ready to go out there and show up and show out.
Good luck this week, Coach.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's go inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Appreciate it, Lynn. Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Jackson.
Hey, what's going on, Doc? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I wanted to ask you, based on playing the game at multiple levels, your personal mindset in regards to playing through the game. You talked about some of the mental errors, mistakes, and the need to get better, and how if they continue, there might be a game here or there that it cost you. Can you give me some experience of your thought process of the various teams that you played in, why some teams may catch that early on, while it may take other teams a little more time to cultivate that, where you just seek to reduce those mistakes, whether they're penalties or just untimely things that happen?
Yeah, I just think a lot of it is self-inflicted wounds. You going throughout the course of the game, we're honest and realistic.
Yes.
There's going to be penalties that are going to be called, right? We understand that no one can play a game and go out there and play it 100% correct, right? You're going to get out of position. You're going to have to reach. You're going to have to grab. You might grab a face mask on accident. So from that perspective and that point of view, I'm understanding of that. The things I think we need to clean up is after the whistle, pulling a guy's face mask, headbutting your opponent, extracurricular activity that's unnecessary, that's at that point your mind is being taken over and you're not thinking about the team, you're thinking about yourself. So for me, when I'm frustrated and after a win, I'm in there giving my players and my team a handful of words, it's more on the sense of like, let's not continue to bite us in the that's going to affect us, because I feel like if we get into a game and we're going against a team that's going to be battle for battle, score for score, and we need to stop, and we're continuously going out there making those bonehead mistakes, then that's when it's going to affect you. Going back in my career, you can't, like I said, winning alone is hard enough, right? Everything has to go right for you to win at this level, college football, in the NFL, right? So for me, if I know how hard it is for us to go out there not to say
Recording in
I don't
progress.
care about non-conference games. Every game matters because I want to win and I'm a winner. So, I just hope my team understands that. I was pissed off after the game, and I have the right to be, because it was 30-7. It was 30-7 at halftime. We only scored 6 points in the second half, and in all honesty, I feel like it should have been more than 30 points in the first half. So, as a coach, that's my expectations, and I feel like my team understand that. When we go back and look at film, this is the reason why I'm getting on y'all butts. This is like, and this shows, and they're like, you know what, you're right, coach. So they're starting to understand it and they're picking it up, and we just got to do a better job at just being disciplined.
Appreciate that, Coach. Take care and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, boss.
Up next is Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash with the Yard HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, man. I'm blessing yourself.
I'm doing good. Listening to you in your past interviews this summer before the season started, I noticed that you were very knowledgeable about your team's performance before you got there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any feelings or emotion after matching the previous regime's win total over 2 years in just your first 3 games? And also, I noticed that you also seem to have a philosophy of motivating your players based upon the team's performance against a particular team in the past. Can you discuss that philosophy and how that works for you guys?
Yeah. First off, I mean, before I even really took this job on, just so you guys can understand the person and the character of myself, I wouldn't have jumped into a position like this with the magnitude of this position, not being 100% feet on land and locked in and engaged into the opportunity at hand. Right, taking this job, everybody in the world said, "Why would you take a job where they've won 1 game or 2 games in the past 2 years?" Right, they went 1-11 both games. For me, that's a challenge, man. My life, my career, everything I've accomplished has always been a challenge for me. So, when I really sat down to analyze and view this position, it was just something that just motivated me to say, you know what? I like starting at ground zero. I like having nothing to build into something because that process makes it feel more worth it in the end, right? So going back to the season that they had the past few years, like even just last year, they won 1 game, right? They was in 6 games in the fourth quarter and lost. Well, not even in 6 games. They was winning 6 games and lost in the fourth quarter in all 6 games. To me, you can identify that. When times get tough, what happened? You quit. You're not in shape. You're not well conditioned. Your mental is weak. I mean, it's just so many things that you can attack on. Why do you guys get to the fourth quarter and all of a sudden just give up and tuck your tails, right? So in my career, I was able to identify that because I had great leaders, great men around me that didn't allow us to get content, never got comfortable, regardless of you up 60 points, you down 30 points. Like you got to have that mentality until that lady sings at the end of the game is not over. Right. So that's our mindset and in our work and our details. That's what we preach, and nothing in life you can't have success if you don't put the work in, first and foremost. So I'm a firm believer. You work hard, you get your results. Right. The philosophy of me, having a mentality where regardless of the circumstances, we will have success. That's my message. I mean, in life, if you believe in something, it's possible. And that's just my message. The impossible is nothing to me. So, I mean, that's transitioned over to the players now because you have guys that have the talent, but you never had anybody to, be on them for all the little things. They was able to get away with so many things that I'm not allowing them to get away with because if I allow them to get away with it on the football field, then guess what? It's going to transition into their daily lives. And when they become fathers, husbands, brothers, sons, and I just can't do that on my watch.
Thanks so much, Coach. I like that answer, man. Good luck this week against St. Francis.
Thank you.
Next question comes from Andy Walter.
Hey, Coach. How are you?
Hey, man. I'm good. So how you doing, Andy?
All right. Hey, like you said, you got 3 road games coming up. What is the challenge of playing on the road, and how do you want to see your guys handle it?
Man, first up, I mean, we're 0-1 on the road already. We went down to University of Delaware. We feel like we put up a decent performance. Obviously, it wasn't good enough. So, that's been my message. I met with the team yesterday. We had our team run, our team flush after the game. And, my message is simple, man. We're 0-1. So we have to go even that up. We got another opportunity to go on the road in a hostile environment, a team that's 0-3. I know they're going to be swinging for the fence as well, too, because they lost 3 consecutive games as well, too. So, and they beat us last year. So I know they're going to be feeling themselves to think they're going to come in and, obviously get a win. So, I mean, the odds are always stacked against us. I just keep reminding my team all year. To start off the year, they had us projected in last. So it's no one's gonna give us nothing. We got to go take everything we want, and we got to go earn what we want in the end. So that's my message. It's simple. We got to go earn our respect.
Thanks,
sir.
Okay, Darryl Duval.
Hey, Coach, first of all, I want to say congratulations on your win this weekend. This
Yes,
is
sir.
Gerald Duvall from Powering You Sports. Man, I'm going to make it easy because I think you kind of talked about how you, even though y'all were up, you felt like y'all could have put in more points on that.
Yes, sir.
What are some of who were some of the players that impressed you with the growth in this game, in that game?
Good question. Oh man, I would say the freshman running back, man, Deuce Weston, man, Sean Weston Jr., man, freshman running back who's been taking a lot of reps, been getting a lot of playing time as well too in the game. Marquise Gillis is dealing with some injuries. We lost another running back due to some off the field issues. So I mean, Deuce Weston stepped up, man. He's showing that he can play at a high level at a young age, and when he gets that ball in his hand, he's a physical runner, man. So. In particular, I would say, Deuce Weston. A guy on defense that's popping up is Anthony Aber, who's coming in. I think it's his last year. He's a grad guy as well too, but he's coming in. His presence has been huge. We lost one of our leaders on defense and with the injury at the safety position with DeShawn Jackson. So, man, those two guys in particular, man, is taking a huge step of growth, and we're gonna count on them to play some big ball for us, in the near future.
Hey, man, again, I want to congratulate you on your win. Congratulate on how you actually changing that program. Because, I mean, again, they need somebody like you that's young, that's going to put inspiration on it. I mean, it is going to the younger generation, man. I hate to say that. Congratulations, man. Look
Thank
forward
you.
to you get you out.
Okay, next up is Luke Williams.
Hey, Coach Luke Williams from the Black College Sports Page. Congratulations on the win over Bowie. Coach, there's not a lot of wide receivers that are head coaches. They have a reputation of being divas. Some receivers, I'd say.
Yes, sir.
What's the difference in DeShawn Jackson as a player and DeShawn Jackson as a coach?
Well, I can say I once was maybe a high profile diva, right? When I played in the NFL. I mean, honestly, man, it's things that I got away with, and I have a policy where no one's exempt, no one's bigger than the team, right? That's my policy. And being a head coach, man, all the things I got away with, all the things that I bucked the system on. I mean, I know a lot, ins and outs of everything, right? So to now be in this position, I always tell my players, like, I was able to have the success I had and not even really going over and beyond because everything came easy to me. I was talented, I was faster than everybody. So I just always tell them, man, like if I didn't do the little things that I did, I probably would have had that much more of a career, or that much better of a career. Even though I feel like I had a hell of a career, I feel like now I'm in a position where I'm not going to allow my players to get away with things that I got away with, because I know maybe if I would have put in the extra push up or dumbbell or extra gasher, if I ran a little harder, that maybe I would have got 5 more 60-yard touchdowns than the touchdowns that I did got, even though I got the record. So I just look at it from that point of view, man. Being a head coach, you have an opportunity to put your mark on a whole university, right? On a whole team of 100+ kids. You got a culture that you're changing. So I mean, it's a lot that rides on it. And at the end of the day, when you sit back and you look at it, man, you just want things to look apart and look a certain way.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our final question for Coach comes from Ernest Rich.
Coach Ernest Rich with MTMV Sports. I want to ask about your coaching mentors and how much you've been leaning on them in your first year.
Yes, sir. How you doing today? Man, well, my coaches, mentors, man, I always say these few names, man, and these guys who I respected at a high level throughout my career is obviously Coach Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Marty Morningwig, and David Culley. Those 4 gentlemen, man, like when I was young, man, they taught me the right way. And not only coaches, right? When I came into the Eagles when I was drafted, I had Donovan McNabb, I had Brian Dawkins, Brian Westbrook, like Asante Samuel. Like those guys taught me what it's like to be a professional. Right. When I was young, I didn't really know the ins and outs of taking care of my body, spending extra time in the film room, putting extra time on the practice field, coming early, showing up late. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, coming early and leaving late, like the field. So I would just say, man, just knowing the characteristics of, and I go back to this in general, like, right, if you want success, the time has to be put in regards to your coach, you're a player. Like you have to study, you have to know the in and outs of your opponent. You have to know the players that you put out on the field. What do they like? What do they don't like? What makes them comfortable? What makes them uncomfortable? Like you need to know so many variables on being a head coach. And, once you find those variables, you just got to make sure you put your best work on the field, right? And it may not always be perfect, but as long as we're able to cut our mistakes and effort shows that we're just effortless. Every time we out there, we just to the whistle, right? And we're not lacking plays. I mean, as a head coach, that's what you envision to have.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Concludes all of our media questions this morning for Coach Jackson. Hey, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Best of luck this weekend as the Delaware State Hornets travel to St. Francis Saturday, September 20th at the Gold Field in Loretta, Pennsylvania. 1 p.m. kickoff on ESPN+. Thanks again, Coach. We'll turn our attention now to the green and gold, Norfolk State University head coach Michael Vick. Good morning to you, Coach Vick.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing good, Coach. The Spartans hit the road this past weekend to the Big Ten's Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And although the score didn't go your way, your team showed some bright spots at Rutgers, particularly in the running game with Kevon King and Xavier Evans, and with the defense generating 3 sacks. What positives do you have to take from this non-conference FBS matchup that you can use on to build and move forward?
Yeah, for us, it was all about coming out and competing, and like we always say, going into the game knowing we're gonna win, not hoping we're gonna win. So the mindset was to come in, accept the challenge, have fun, and just go out there and do, the things that's required to play winning football. Obviously for us, just fell to an early deficit after the 2 block punts. And it kind of changed what we wanted to do versus what we needed to do. So it happened so abruptly. We had to make changes on the fly, but at the same time, still went out, competed hard. We had some bright spots, some things that we can learn from, and I thought we competed hard.
You did, Coach. And as you prepare now to return home against Sacred Heart, what are the key areas of emphasis for the Spartans will you need to focus on to regroup after that tough road game and to protect the home field advantage at Dick Price Stadium?
Yeah, for us right now, it's just about going out there and playing winning football, obviously. Go back to the basics, the things that we know help us, put us in position to be competitive and put us in a position to win. Don't try to do too much like we always say, but at the same time, stay aggressive. And so, look at last week's film, see what we can take away from it, see the bright spots, see the things that need to be corrected, and keep moving forward.
Okay. All right, Coach, thanks so much. Let's hold on now. We're going to open up the questions from the media. As a reminder, media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you are introduced. Please limit your questions to just one for Coach Vick. And our first question comes from, let's see, Wayne Cartwright. Wayne.
Hey, Coach. I just want to ask a question about just yourself now here in 3 games in as a head coach. I just want to know about your process, where you feel you are personally as a head coach. Do you feel still a little bit of overwhelmed moments? Do you feel like you're settling in? Just how do you feel personally about being a head coach now after 3 games headed into this week at home against Sacred Heart?
I just feel excited. I feel enthused every day when I get on campus and come here to teach, to pour into my team, to inspire. It's a great feeling, when you come into work and you're doing something that you love to do. Just learning, how to be a head coach was something I feel like, over the summer, during the spring, I was getting to know, and then after the first game, just came out of the first game, being real pleased with the process, and so I'm starting to narrow things down on game day as to with the things I need to pay attention to, from clock to managing timeouts and managing the game, as to being able last week to do a little bit more, pay more attention to what they was doing on the defensive side of the ball, being an offensive guy, and just being in tune, get more comfortable, and just staying in tune to the game, and so. just driving over here today, it just hit me like I'm a football guy at heart, and the football comes out of me each and every day, and every day it continues to grow and get more exciting. So just enjoying the process of each and every week, and I love the process of going through the week and preparing for the game, but just loving game day as a whole. Feel like a play all over again, but just living it out in the coach's body.
Well, thanks, Coach, for the transparency, and good luck this week against Sacred Heart.
Thank you.
All right, let's turn our attention to James Hill.
Coach Vic, how are you and everybody in the 7 cities doing this morning? How you doing, sir?
Doing great. Happy Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Wonderful. The offense, the defense, and the special teams, just talk a little bit about your team, what you're seeing so far as you head into an opportunity versus Sacred Heart.
Yeah, starting with the offense, I feel like we had some flow last week. Definitely wanted to get better in the run game after, we didn't do so well against Townsend. I think the last couple of weeks we've gotten better in the run game and doing things that we're supposed to do there. Obviously want to continue to get better at that, continue to stress pad protection, pass pro in terms of blitz pass pro, being able to pick up the blitz. So pass protection has got to be at a premium. We want to keep working on that, keep working on the looks that we've been seeing, going back and watching, what teams have been doing to us, and trying to anticipate what they're going to try to do and what their thoughts may be. So on the offensive side of the ball, I think we're clicking. Just got to continue to get consistent quarterback play. That's what it's all about. On the defensive side of the ball, looking at the things that we can get better at, looking at the things that we've gotten in trouble trying to do. Felt like we learned a lot watching the Rutgers film, playing an opponent that was, really tough and was going to give us some problems in a lot of different areas from a physicality standpoint, but being able to measure up to that and just finding ways to get better as we move forward, with all different levels of competition. And like I told my team, we got to play teams from 3 different divisions in the first 3 weeks. So that was awesome. So I think that'll help us moving forward. Special teams wise, I feel like the first couple of weeks, Townsend, Virginia State, our special teams shined in so many different areas, from kickoff return to punt return, blocking kicks, blocked a couple of field goals last week versus Rutgers, only to have 2 punts blocked last week. And so got to tighten that up. Outside of that, I thought the special teams has been amazing. We lost some of our key guys on special teams, so we got to find ways to compensate for that. So in all 3 phases, I feel like we're getting better. Last week, I thought it was a great test against.
So how are you? Okay. Are you still online?
Yes.
Thank you, Coach. Have a blessed week.
Yep.
Okay, Stephen Gaither, you're up next.
Absolutely. This team got to follow my lead. As of right now, man, I'm down there here. I'm down there with my coaches, with my players. I got to continue to lead. I got to continue to get better each and every day. My primary focus right now until, the end of time is going to be what we do here at Norfolk State. And so that's all we can focus on right now. I hope they're not reading any newspaper clippings or looking into what's happening on the social pages and all that, because I don't do it. So, we got Sacred Heart this week. That's the most important thing in our lives right now, outside of family and our faith. And so I'm looking forward to having a great week of practice, getting back at it. We're breaking down film right now, still from last week to get ready for this week. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. Our next question comes up from Trevin Gray.
What's going on, Coach? I was originally going to ask about VTech, but I'll transition and just talk about from the Rutgers game. Obviously, it's a big Power Four game. You talked about it being a measuring stick game, basically, for what you guys were looking to do this season. What did you take away from that game in terms of, I guess, yeah, would it be in a measuring stick? What did you see that you could take away that you want to continue, especially this week with Sacred Heart?
Yeah, I wanted to go into this game, and obviously it's going to be a test of our character, as a football team, but our discipline as well. I think in all phases and everything that we did, for all the good and all the bad that happened, our penalties was down. The last thing we could do against Rutgers is go out there and beat ourselves and not give ourselves the opportunity. I feel like the worst that happened, was the two block punts, obviously, and then we had a situation on offense where we did have a hold, and I think we had a false start, and we got into like a 3rd and like 35 or something, and it was ridiculous, and it's no play call for that, as we all know. So, from a disciplinarian standpoint, I felt like we was disciplined. I felt like we trusted, our calls. We competed, we played tough, and it was evident. So definitely wanted that to be a character building game. And, I'll see this week as we go through the week how much the players took away from it. I have to gauge that just in conversation, and their output in practice.
Okay, thank you so much. Our next question comes up from Dow Duvall.
How you doing, Coach?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. Hey, Coach, I just want to just real quick talk about the with the score this past weekend. What takeaways do you have from that game? What positive takeaways do you have from that game?
Yeah, the positives I take away from the game, as we was just watching a few minutes ago, is that we did some really nice things on defense. We did some good things on offense. I think, we stood up to the challenge. Did we win every battle, whether it was a one-on-one battle, it was a two-on-one battle, or do we make the right decisions at all times, or make the right throws? I wouldn't say yes to everything, but I would say that it's a lot of things to build on in terms of what we're seeing on film. And so, it's just little keys here and there, and always teaching, on anticipation and being able to see things before it happen and anticipate things before it happen. That's what football is all about. And so I think, just getting to know my defensive coaches and watching, from all phases, I'm learning a lot, which is helping me from, coach's perspective, and, obviously being a former quarterback, being able to see things that's translating as I'm asking more questions and as I'm learning more, and try to get those things to translate onto the field. So we have a group of young men that we want to continue to challenge. They all have ambitions of doing great things in life, from a football perspective and from a life perspective. So, if we can get them to follow the blueprint now, then it'll, it'll show up for them at some point.
Well, Coach, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I just want to say, congratulations on really changing the atmosphere of your school right now, your team, and because they look up to you, man. And I think that's what they need, is people just like you. They help them take it to the next level.
Yep. I love my players.
Thank you so much. Let's turn our attention and toss it now to Kendall Lanier.
Hey, Coach. Kendall Lanier, ESPN Plus. Wanted to ask you about who you've seen kind of step up as leaders on this team, especially against Rutgers, who kind of stepped up as the uplifting voice that you've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, always, lean on, our veterans to be a presence. David Ojabo, has really stepped up. Makai Frisbee, Otto Coombs, these guys are stepping into major roles right now. Cam Thomas, DeSean Kendrick, these guys are, really coming into their own. And, sometimes, and I learned this from Andy Reid, sometimes, players got to take things into their own hands, take matters into their own hands. We can't think for them all the time. We can only, advise them on certain things and put them in the right positions. And then sometimes they got to be reactive and proactive as well. And so I'm seeing those guys step up and do these type of things, and seeing players emerge, and the hunger is still there. We got so much to play for. It's a long season, and we just want to break it down in 3-game increments now, and just try to get to, just get to a point where it's satisfactory for us. When we watch the film on Sundays.
Thanks. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Our final question for Coach Vic comes from Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach Vic.
How you doing? Good morning.
Super fantastic. Coach, DeShawn Jackson talked about things that he got away with as a player that he won't tolerate in his program. My question to you is, what are some things that you got away with as a player that you will not tolerate in your program?
I caught the tail end of DeShawn's interview, and I heard him saying that, and it's kind of ironic because I was in my 10th year when DeShawn was in his second, and I begged him to come lift weights and watch extra film, and it's something that he he wasn't taking into consideration for sure, and if he would have, he would have been even greater than what he was, and so. I laugh now because we both laugh at, the fact that, we asked these players to do things that, we didn't want to do when we was young. And I was where DeShawn was at. My second year, third year, being a quarterback, I had to have different principles, and I had to do a little bit more. But I totally understand where DeShawn is coming from in terms of, trying to push these guys harder than they've ever been pushed before. And so we don't know what standards they come from in terms of football or, how they being coached. We just only know our standards and what we want to implement. And so we can't do it any other way. Our job now is to motivate, inspire, push, and lead and do all those things that require young men to be great, just not at football, but just at life. And so it's great to hear that from DeShawn, and a lot of things that I didn't do, especially as I got older. Mine was as I got older, not watching as much film as I should have, not eating right, and not getting the proper sleep. Those are things that we preach now and try to teach now. And so, you just hope that it's received well, and, you'll know when you're getting the results.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Coach Vic, thanks again for joining us. That concludes all of the media questions. Best of luck to you this week.